99% of people are slaves to a system they don't understand. They work for money, save money, and complain about money, but they don't actually know what money is. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break the chains of your financial ignorance. We're going to travel from a deserted island to the secret vaults of central banks. I'm going to show you why the coffee you're drinking today will be more expensive tomorrow, how governments take your wealth without you even noticing, and most importantly, how you can use the rules of the game to stop being a pawn and start being the player. From the law of supply and demand to the complex world of crypto and the psychology of human behavior, get ready. After this video, you will never look at a dollar bill the same way again. Welcome to the most important economics class of your life. Let's start with the basics. Your choices. Choices and trade to live is to choose. If you buy an iPhone, you're choosing not to have that money for a vacation. That's economics, managing scarcity. But we are only wealthy because of trade. If you grow potatoes and I raise cows and we decide to swap, suddenly we both have a balanced diet. Trade isn't a zero-sum game where one wins and the other loses. It's a factory of well-being. Opportunity, cost, and comparative advantage. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. If you spend 5 hours binge-watching Netflix, the opportunity cost is the money you could have earned or the book you could have read. Now, comparative advantage is the secret of wealthy nations. Do what you're best at and buy the rest. If Messi is the best soccer player and also the best at mowing the lawn, it still makes sense for him to hire a gardener so he can focus on scoring goals. That is pure efficiency. Markets and incentives. The market is like a giant, ongoing conversation. It doesn't need a boss, it organizes itself through incentives. Why does the baker wake up at 4 a.m.? It's not out of love for you, it's because he wants your money to feed his family. If you want someone to do something, change the incentive. If you raise taxes on cigarettes, people smoke less. It's that simple. Supply and demand, the heart of the system. Imagine 100 people want a concert ticket and there are only 10 seats. The price skyrockets. That's high demand and low supply. If the artist is terrible and no one wants to go, the price drops. The equilibrium price is where supply and demand shake hands. When governments impose price controls, like saying rent must be cheap by law, landlords stop maintaining buildings and no one builds new ones. The result is always chaos. Money and banks. Swapping cows for potatoes is annoying. That's why we invented money, a universal language for value. Banks are the middlemen. They take your grandma's savings and lend them to an entrepreneur to open a pizzeria. The bank makes sure money isn't just sitting dead under a mattress, but out there working. Before we dive into the secrets of central banks, I want to see who's paying attention. If you've understood that your time is your most valuable asset, write the phrase "smart asset" in the comments. Supply chain and production. That coffee in your hand required a picker in Colombia, a cargo ship, a roaster in Europe, and a barista. That's the supply chain. If one link fails, like a ship stuck in the Suez Canal, everything gets more expensive. A country's wealth isn't its money, it's its production. If you print bills but don't produce bread, you just have colored paper and a hungry population. Productivity, GDP, and growth. Productivity is working smarter, not harder. A farmer with a tractor produces more than 100 with hoes. GDP, gross domestic product, is the sum of everything a country produces. GDP per capita tells us how much each citizen would get. If GDP grows, the country progresses. If it stagnates, we slide back to the 19th century. Boom, recession, and depression. The economy breathes. A boom is the inhalation. Everyone is spending. There's plenty of jobs. A recession is the mandatory exhalation to clean out the excesses. A depression is when the economy goes without air for a long time. It's painful, but it's part of the cycle. Inflation and stagflation, the thief of your savings. Inflation happens when the government prints too much money or supply is low and prices rise. Your $10 bill still says 10, but it only buys half as much. Stagflation is the worst-case scenario. Prices go up, but the economy doesn't grow. It's like having a fever and chills at the same time. Price discrimination. Sometimes it's not just inflation, it's price discrimination. Airlines charge you more if you buy a ticket on a Friday because they know you're in a hurry. The price isn't always what it costs to make something, it's what you are willing to pay. History of money and central banks. We went from seashells to gold, and from gold to paper money. Today we use fiat money based on faith. Central banks are the gods of this system. They decide how much money exists and set the interest rate, the price of renting money. If the rate is low, everyone takes out loans and the economy flies. If it's high, everyone saves and the economy slows down. Monetary policy and the new money trick. During crises, central banks use quantitative easing. They print digital money to buy bonds. But here's the secret: loans create new money. Thanks to fractional reserve banking, the bank only keeps a tiny fraction of your deposit and lends out the rest. The money in your account is actually a debt. If everyone runs to take their money out at once, you get a bank run. That's why deposit insurance exists, to prevent the panic. Taxes and the state. Nothing is free. The state collects taxes to provide public goods, like streetlights. If the government spends more than it takes in, there's a deficit. To cover it, they sell government bonds. The national debt is the accumulation of those loans. If the debt grows faster than the economy, the country heads toward default. International trade and globalization. Free trade allows us to have avocados in winter and Japanese tech. Globalization has made the world more efficient, but also more fragile. Some call for protectionism, tariffs or quotas, to help local industry, but that usually ends up making citizens pay more for lower quality products. Forex and currencies. The exchange rate is the price of one currency in terms of another. It can be floating, market decided, or fixed, government decided. If your currency appreciates, you're richer for traveling, but your exports become expensive for the world. Currency manipulation is when a country devalues its currency on purpose to sell more to others. Labor economics. Why you earn what you earn. Your salary depends on your marginal revenue product, how much extra money you generate for your boss. If you are easily replaceable, your wage will be low. The minimum wage sounds good, but if it's higher than what a worker produces, it creates unemployment. The wage gap often relates to career choices and the accumulation of human capital. Finance, stocks, bonds, and crypto. Investing is putting your money to work. Stocks make you a partial owner of a company. The efficient market hypothesis says all information is already priced in, so don't try to guess the future. Derivatives are complex bets, and cryptocurrencies are an attempt to separate money from the state. Remember, higher risk, higher return. There is no such thing as a free lunch. Development and behavioral economics. Many countries are stuck in the poverty trap. They are so poor they can't save for tomorrow. The solution isn't just giving money, foreign aid, but building institutions and using microcredits. Also, we aren't rational. We have cognitive biases. That's why supermarkets put candy by the checkout. It's a nudge to make you spend without thinking. Economic systems. Capitalism versus socialism. Capitalism uses the invisible hand of the market. Socialism prefers the visible hand of the state. Communism seeks to eliminate private property. In reality, almost all of us live in a mixed economy where the market creates wealth and the state tries, sometimes unsuccessfully, to redistribute it. The Cantillon effect, the secret of inequality. There's a trick almost no one tells you, and it's the reason you feel like you're working harder, but your money isn't lasting. It's called the Cantillon effect. When the government prints money, the first people to get it, banks and big investors, spend it while prices are still low. By the time that money reaches you, inflation has already pushed up the price of milk and rent. The solution? Don't just save paper. Invest in real things that new money can't dilute. Compound interest, the snowball effect. If the Cantillon effect is the trick governments use to dilute your wealth, compound interest is the only legal weapon you have to fight back and win. Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. Imagine two people, Anna and Luis. Anna starts saving and investing $200 a month at age 20 and stops at 30. She never puts in another cent for the rest of her life. Luis, on the other hand, starts at 30 and puts in those same $200 every month until he retires at 65. Here is the reality check. Anna ends up with significantly more money than Luis, even though Luis put in money for 35 years and Anna only for 10. Why? Because Anna let time do the dirty work. Compound interest isn't just adding money, it's making sure the interest on your interest has its own children, and those children have grandchildren. It's a snowball that eventually becomes an unstoppable avalanche. Most people use compound interest against themselves through credit cards. You are going to use it in your favor. You don't need a millionaire's salary to start. You need time. The day you realize that every dollar you spend on something stupid today is $50 you're stealing from your future self, you've won the game of life. Economics isn't about money, it's about freedom. To be wealthy, produce more value than you consume. Invest in assets, not liabilities. Understand that the government doesn't have its own money, it has yours. Never stop learning, because your knowledge is the only asset inflation cannot destroy. If you've reached the end of this marathon and you are determined to take control of your financial future, comment the word action. Subscribe for more lessons that will help you win the money game. I'll see you at the top.